What's up, guys? Framinthor here, the coolest thing since Kool-Aid. Second video of the day. I know what the fuck is going on. I want to watch this video by Asmongold after Asmongold interviewed the video, and WoW players are instantly hating him. I want to react because, in my opinion, WoW players that hate Asmongold are pretty much either dumb or what do you call it? Live in 2016, basically. I think a lot of people who hate Asmongold at this point don't even watch him. I personally didn't like him before. I'm not saying like I like him or anything like that right now, but he makes decent points most of the time, especially when it comes to WoW. And I think he's actually pretty much correct about everything. Not everything, but it's like a lot of things he says. And watching his interview with Eon, I really don't understand what people could have hated about Asmongold for the interview and not for him being Asmongold. So let's watch it and see what I think.
Speaking of critical levers of absolute derangement, we also have to talk about there were a lot of people who were not happy at the fact that I got an interview last time. Asmongold is one of those family member you have and you never invite them to family events. And if they randomly show up, they have to sit in the other room out of line of sight with their shoes still on.
I mean, that's a pretty good insult. I also love that he said out of line of sight as if like it's an AoE ability. Ian was all like, I'm a troll, so I should definitely interview one of the internet's biggest trolls. I get it, but Asmund was one of those family members you. Uh, oh, good.
What is this? Now, I know this might shock nobody, but there were a lot of people out there who were fucking furious. They were so
Yeah.
angry that of
Yeah.
all the people, of every single person that could possibly get an interview, it had to be me. And it's like,
Out of all the people who could possibly get an interview, who didn't get an interview? Aliasen got an interview. Hazel Nadi got an interview. Rich doesn't play the game. He probably didn't even want an interview, and like honestly, he probably didn't even ask for one. Mr. GM got an interview. I'm pretty sure Towley had an interview, right? Um, I'm trying to think who should have gotten an interview other than Asmongold. Like on that time slot. Which, by the way, I don't got like the tiny. I think the smallest interview that you could get. It was a pretty important one because it was with Ian, but it was a very tiny one. So like I can't think of anyone who deserves the interview more than Asmongold from the people I listed. Who else? Who's like I would say maybe one of the world first raiders, but what are they gonna ask? In terms of like they were just going to talk about the raid, right? So it's like I don't think their opinion is very valid for regular players, like what they care about. And I think they shouldn't really be asked at all, or like considered when it comes to making big decisions. They're the top of the top of the top of the 1%, and even though they spend a lot of money on the game, more so than like I would say their whole server combined some during world first raids, I still don't think their opinion should matter that much.
it's kind of like
They would like those people, no matter what state the game is in, they would play it during the raid. So it doesn't matter what their opinion is.
uh, why are they mad? Because basically there are these people that because Blizzard obviously hasn't done a lot of stories recently. The communities come up with their own fan fiction, and so these people have invented a person out there that's supposed to be me. And like this person is going to be like, okay, he hates black people. I didn't even know that I hated black people, but apparently I do. On top of that,
Doesn't he have like multiple black friends? Oh yeah, I forgot. That's not an excuse. Like you can still be a racist while you're friends with black people. I forgot about that.
I also hate women. I
Oh,
hate
100% you hate women. And all your girlfriends are exes, right? So it's like you have to hate women.
gay people. Who else do I hate? I honestly, I lose track, guys.
You hate
I
everybody.
really do. Because if I just go to these fucking comments, they just give out a list of all the things that I don't like.
Don't forget you hate LGBTQ because you don't agree with some LGBT stuff. But yeah. Don't forget, yeah, you hate trans people because of the whole year on the Twitch Council.
Like it's like, as I said, it's like Game of Thrones, where they list out the king and like all of his titles. They're listing out me and all of my fucking isms, right? Like that's it. And meanwhile, I don't even know this is happening, right? I'm just sitting here streaming, talking about a video game, and I go over to Twitter or something like this, and I read it, and it's like, oh my fucking god, where are these people coming from, man? Yeah,
Twitter.
it's just nuts.
Before they leave
And
Twitter,
so
they gotta make their last
nuts,
point.
man. And say to everyone equally, there's no problem. I don't hate anybody except for people that are rude to me, right? That's
I I would say he probably doesn't even hate them, even though he says it. I don't hate people. There's people like I'm not content with, but it's like hate is a really strong word. Like hater of Asmongold, hater of bro. Hate is a really strong word. I doubt he hates anyone really. Like people you hate is like people who like, fuck your wife. Those people you can hate.
it. Like I don't
Unless it's your thing and then bother that.
care about this shit. Like why the fuck would I care? And like I think that and always the evidence that they have is like one tweet that I made 5 years ago, and they're like, yeah, see, he hates him. It's like, that was a joke, number one. Number two, I like some of the tweets, I didn't even make these tweets. It's like, they just wrote it, fucking photoshopped it in there. Like, I don't even say this shit. And like, also, I mean, let's be honest, I've made a lot of bad jokes over the years. And you want to know how many of them I'm sorry for? 0. I don't care.
Hell yeah.
So just keep that
joke
in
is a
mind.
fucking
I don't want
joke.
anybody to think that this is me trying to,
A joke is a joke.
not own up to it, right? Of course, I'm not sorry about any of it. I think it's fucking funny. And so, yeah, absolutely not. And that's the one important bit of information. And you know why I'm not sorry is because I know that there's no ill intent behind them.
There you go, because it's a joke.
To an extent. It's not. I don't hate people categorically, and so it's important to keep that in mind.
True.
However, there are a lot of people out there who believe the opposite. It's always funny to read these comments. It is. None of the MMO champion thread were talking about the actual interview, and so this is what I find to be so interesting too. Is that if you
They didn't even talk about what he said in the interview. They just don't like that he got an interview. Basically, what they're mad about.
go to one of these pages, I don't know if I can find this MMO champion, and I look at the threads. Literally nothing, none of it even has to do with anything. Like it doesn't have anything to do with like what I'm saying. It doesn't have to do with the interview. It has to do with like some other random stuff that like people are just arguing about me. Show the comments, free content. Oh, don't worry about it. I will. I think that it's fucking hilarious. So many comments criticizing you. It's nuts, man. They want to waste your time. Yeah, I know. People on there are actually deranged. I think that the reason why they're so unhappy about me, the reason why they're so angry, is the fact that I do what they think that you shouldn't be able to do, right? These are the people that got bullied in school for playing video games and they hid their passions. These are the people who don't like to tell their friends what their interests are because they're afraid that people won't like them. Well,
I don't want to talk about which hentai I watch, okay? And my friends don't need to know.
They secretly hoard and collect Funko Pops of porgs in Star Wars. This is the kind of people they are. They're repressed, sad, angry, resentful losers. And
not to defend these types of people, but at the same time, I can understand why they would be. As far as society goes, you are not allowed to be like Asmongold. You would be rejected by many people. Like, yeah, the what do you call it? The view of society is shifting a bit, sure. And it's a bit more acceptable to be a goblin, but it's only more acceptable usually by other dudes. Maybe there are some girl goblins as well, but it's like usually by other dudes who understand that it's like, man, you might as well do what you want because life is fucking garbage. So you might as well be a fucking goblin. But oh wait, nice place to stop. Let's see. There we go. That's a bit better. I understand the jealousy of someone who's living a degenerate lifestyle, doesn't work out, doesn't care, doesn't take care of himself, doesn't care about anything. Well, I'm sure he cares about stuff, but like the image is like that he doesn't care about anything. And all he does is play video games all day. Which, by the way, I honestly don't even know when he gets to play video games because watching his stream sometimes, I'm not watching full stream, but like almost every time I come and check his stream, he is doing just chatting. Like he never really plays while he's streaming. Let's be real. So it's like I don't like. It's so hard for me to imagine being like he streams like I don't know. I think he has like 8 hour streams as well, 6 to 8 hour streams where he barely even plays. He lives there talking to people for 6 to 8 hours. That shit is not hard. That shit is mentally draining. Like that's something you need to have a few drinks after. But this guy, after he's done doing that, he probably plays video games for 6 to 8 hours more because he sleeps like probably 6 to 8 hours as well. So he only has that much time to play. So I have no idea when he really plays games. And he has a business, he has his own like other shit to do outside of games. I'm sure like he doesn't deal with the business every day or whatever, but it's like he has other shit going for him outside of gaming, right? I'm not saying he's like super busy, but it's like I'm sure he's busier than what people give him credit for. So in that regard, man, it's not easy. I'm not saying this is like being a redhead and doing roofing in like summer heat, like Bill Burr used to say. That's like here's a hard job, but I'm sure this is like mentally not easy to keep doing, especially for years on end. Like there are days I am 99% sure there are days where he wakes up and is like, man, I fucking don't want to stream today. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want like, cause he is pretty much a guy who like probably doesn't like being around a lot of people very often, just based on like what I've seen so far. And it's like he has to do it. It's his job, and he has to be there, and he has to entertain. Man, this fucking like he wakes up like fuck my life, bro. I don't want to do it today. I'm so fucking drained. And he still goes on and does it until he doesn't do it anymore and then takes 3 or 4 months off. What do you think he does in those 3 or 4 months? He literally said, like, the first month he didn't even play video games for a month. For someone who plays video games for a living, not play video games for a month, that's crazy. I don't remember last time I didn't play video games for a month. The most I did was like a week because I was in Cuba, and even then I kind of try to like play something on my phone, Sudoku or something. So yeah, it's not that easy, but you know, comparing it to like hard physical manual labor, mm, hard.
Depressed, sad, angry, resentful losers. And that's all they are. And as soon as you
Resentful.
understand that
They're just
about them,
resentful.
everything
They
else
don't even
makes
resent
perfect
Asmongold. They
sense.
resent their
Because
life.
look at me. We come on here, and this is why they hate my community too, is that we don't
You
give a fuck.
support him.
I don't give a fuck if people like or don't like what I'm saying. I do to an extent. To be fair, I do.
Yeah, everyone does that.
However, the effect that I do care, I make it very known. And I also try to, I try not to make people mad unconditionally, right? Of course. But in general, I try to just be myself. And I think that whenever you're yourself, whenever you're truly yourself online, you have
Shouldn't
so
apologize
many
for it.
people that are going to rise up to tear you down because
Yeah.
these are people
But
who
that's
have
in real life
lived a
too.
repressed life of resentment, a repressed life of missed opportunities, of lost interests, of just like people that didn't have the opportunity or who didn't want to take control of the opportunity to own their own life, and these are
Yeah.
the kinds of people that
Yeah.
that rise up and they shit on you whenever you do the same thing. It's like crabs in a bucket. They never want to see somebody else come out ahead because they couldn't do the same thing themselves. That's the facts. Interviewers talking about no, it's not even about. See, like what you'll have to see here is that it actually has nothing to do with the interview. We get it. You don't like it's just the haters that he preaches to get web hits and clicks. He tells them what they want to hear, whether he actually believes it or not.
The funny thing is, when he says stuff like it's just the haters that he preaches to get web hits and clicks. He doesn't do any of that though. Like, even if he did, I'm saying he's not the one posting to YouTube. He doesn't make articles. All the hits and clicks, it's all stuff they take from his stream that he does live, and he just speaks his mind. So it's not even hits and clicks. It's just he just talks, and people take it either out of context or in context, and they clip it and they post it. That's all it is. So it's like saying that he preaches to someone to get web hits and clicks. It's so weird.
Telling people to harass players online who bought the TBC mount is intelligent.
I don't think he ever did that though. Was it insinuated in a sense? Yes, but I don't think he straight up told people to harass players that have the TBC. He actually even said it's like there's no point spitting on these guys anymore because it's like it doesn't do anything.
Well, obviously it was. That's why Blizzard had to fucking ban the emote. It was so fucking effective. So yeah, I would agree with that. It was. Yeah, it absolutely fucking was. And so yeah, they banned spit exactly. Bring back bullying to prevent microtransactions. Listen, here's my listen. We have lost this war. They're going to continue. What's wrong with A1? Like I have like this. These are delicious. I had a steak last night. It was fucking great, man.
Nice.
And so yeah, what do you mean? People get mad. Chug the steak sauce. I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, now it comes with being famous. The guy is rich, filthy rich. He could buy you and your for future generations without even breaking a sweat. Not a fan of Asmongold myself, and don't watch anything he does because he's the typical over-exaggerated YouTube personality that kids love. He didn't that kids love. Majority, like a vast majority of his crowd are boomers. He mentioned multiple times. Didn't get to where he is today by being an idiot, for however, that's for sure. From a PR standpoint, Blizzard made a good call since he has quite an audience.
But yeah, a lot of these people are very, very upset. And so, anyway, let's look over here. The guy is rich, filthy rich. He could buy you and your future generations without even breaking a sweat. This sounds just like something that Nick would have said back 10 years ago on Arena Junkies. Like that sounds exactly like that is 100% a quote from Nick. Like absolutely. What's the rest of this? I'm not a fan of Asmongold. So having money doesn't mean it's okay to be a jackwagon. So these are people. That's why he's pretty much permabanned, right? Wait,
I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to be seen associated with this herd. You never know if he will slip up an N-word or make some random transphobic comments. I mean, his chat will 100% do it, that's for sure. I see it 24/7 happening. His chat is a cesspool of filth. But with Asmon, it's like a 50-50 odds of it. Sure, that's why he's pretty much perma-banned, right? Good luck finding a clip of him saying the N-word. He's owner of the biggest organization on Twitch and one of the biggest streamers on the platform. Don't have to like him, but come on, saying there's a 50-50 chance that he randomly behaves like a madman or whatever is just ridiculous.
permabanned. Good luck finding a clip of him saying the N word. He's the owner biggest word on Twitch. Yeah, listen, and saying this 50-50 chance, there's a lot of people who are mad about this. And I read this thread, a little bit of it. Almost nobody in this thread is actually talking about the interview.
Yeah.
Nobody's even talking about the interview. And I
They're
think
just
that's
they're just mad that you got an interview.
what's such a big thing, right? Is that like nobody's even getting into the actual.
I would say even like some people hate on him, probably because they're nobodies. They don't even stream. Like they're literally nobodies. Like they have not nobodies, but it's like they don't have any social media presence. And in their mind, they're like, I would have had a better interview with Ian. I would have better questions for Ian than this dumb fuck. They should have given it to me. Meanwhile, no one knows who the fuck.
Like what was talked about on the interview. And it's like Ian talked about some pretty interesting stuff, right? Nobody even heard that. You know, that's it. They're really spreading lies. So let's read this one. Go on his stream and
They're not wrong. The loudest of his community are petty. The only difference between him and Macaroni Penguin is he tears apart his loud followers' antiques, calls it hate. It's a fact that can be pulled out in a few seconds by screen capping his stream.
find recent content where he's being hateful. I think everyone includes Twitch. Let's see hateful content. Yes, exactly. The lot of his community are petty. The only difference between him and Macaroni Penguin is he tears apart his loud followers' antics. Oh my god.
Let me read the whole thing. Do it. Go to his stream and find recent content in which he is being hateful. I think everyone, including Twitch, would love to see this hateful content, which we should all resoundingly condemn him for. If this content is truly hateful, then you can even be the one to put an end to his streaming career by reporting it to Twitch. On a more serious note, let's all be on the level here. This thread is entirely stupid. It should be focused on the results of the interview, what Ian said, maybe even regarding the questions that were asked. But here we are, 21 pages in, and people are still hate jerking about the guy because they're mad that he was able to do an interview. He's a guy who lives like a degenerate that also happens to be the largest WoW content creator, arguably the largest Western MMO content creator, and comes off as an asshole because he's strongly opinionated, even when the opinion is fundamentally idiotic, i.e., dumb assumptions, dumb conclusions on his part. I've heard people say for years that he is hateful, transphobic, or homophobic, that he's racist, etc. But whenever you ask people for why this is the case, they do not show up with the receipts. I generally do not care if he is an asshole in game, nor about the slash spit controversy on Classic, which by the way was McDonald, especially when the Classic community regularly has Reddit posts in which a new instance of ongoing racist or sexist behavior is occurring. Fitting into the drama of radioactive waste that is the Classic community does not make it more toxic. So people should just show instances of truly hateful conduct on his part or leave it be. TLDR, people need to start showing instances of genuinely problematic behavior or stop talking
Macaroni
about
Penguin is he tears apart his loud followers' antics. Oh my god. Wow, this is
it.
unbelievable. Let's see if I can find some more of these. And let's read the first page. I think let's read the first page, and we'll see
Probably the best.
where people are here. And let's see. Why Ian agreed to do an interview with Asmongold is beyond me. The guy is a whack job. I guess kudos to Ian for sitting through the idiocy. In my opinion, it's a pretty good sign. Possibly they're willing to listen to people's feedback now. I'm not holding my breath, but it's possible. Maybe the Microsoft deal wasn't that bad. This user was banned. Ian was all like, I'm a troll. I should definitely interview one of the internet's biggest trolls. What's this here? I get it. But Asmongold is one of those family member you have
Never
and
saw that.
sit in the other room. What is this? Speaking from experience? Yeah, apparently. Like, this is nuts. Join date 2008. So there's no way this guy isn't at least 30 years old, okay? Like, I'm sorry, but you know you're fucking 30. You're 30 fucking years old. You are a middle-aged man now. You're moving in. You've got gray hairs in your beard. You're thinking about your 401k nowadays, and you just
When you
type this
still
shit on
care
the
about
internet.
this.
Oh my fucking god,
Yeah.
man. It's nuts projecting, bro. They're so uncomfortable, amazing. I know, it's nuts. And is Ian well? He seems to not be able to relax and sit still. He's probably just like, I mean, I'd be a little bit nervous, right? Since my community is.
No, I mean Ian has always been jittery. Look at all of his always like very jittery, like his hands are like doing a whole dance while he's talking and shit.
A little bit, very, excited. It is cringe at debasing yourself through an interview with someone like Asmongold. Shows at minimum a momentary slip in judgment. Yes, there's a lot of people that were very, very upset about this. And again, this is what I want to see here, is that literally nothing here has to do with the interview. Nothing. It doesn't have to do with what I said. It doesn't have to do with what Ian said. It doesn't. It doesn't have to do with fucking anything. All it has to do with how much people hate me, and there's a few people that say that I'm not that bad and they get banned. Right? That's about it. Can confirm, read the whole thread. It's all Asmongold bitching. Yeah, let's see here. A hate thread against a hateful person. Yes, I know that. All of this Twitter cancel culture talk until they never watched you. Of course not. He is problematic though, and so is a huge portion of his followers.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got an interview. Not really much against Asmongold. He's actually mostly level-headed and fun, but his public image was somewhat dragged through the mud by Red Tubers and Taliesin. I thought he'd always labeled problematic and just tossed a beta invite once in a while. He is problematic though, and so is a huge portion of his followers. The Asmongold community notoriously toxic for a reason, not because people are trying to tarnish Asmongold and his followers' image, but because they actually are those things. If he didn't frequently take aggressive views on things he doesn't like and was generally a more pleasant person, he might have a better rep and a better behaved following. But his chat only behaves as much as he does, which is not good. I love that like chat is just it's like a dog. Chat is the dog, and the owner, Asmongold, the dog is just acting like their owner, right? Because like you actually know this, if an owner of a dog is aggressive, the dog is usually also aggressive and stuff like that. So it's like these guys, the chat is actually not they're not actual people. They're just a shadow of Asmongold. They have absolutely no self responsibility. Everything is on Asmongold for his chat
Followers.
being
The
retarded.
Asmongold community is notoriously toxic for a reason. Not because people are trying to tarnish Asmon and his followers' images, but because they actually are those things. If he didn't frequently take aggressive views on things he doesn't like, and was generally a lot more pleasant person, he might have a better rep and a better following. But his chat only behaves as much like he does, which is not great a lot of the time. That's right. If only I had the same opinions that you did, I would not be problematic. Wow, what a great solution there. All I have to do is have the same opinions that you do, and
Basically.
suddenly I'll be okay.
Yeah,
Well,
usually how
I
it
didn't
works.
know it was that easy, guys. So all I
Yeah.
have to do is agree with you,
Just be
and you
fake.
won't hate me.
Be
Well,
fake,
thank
bro.
God for that. Yeah, thank God. Yeah,
Be
this is the
fake. Be
least
liked by
toxic
everyone.
MMO champion poster, obviously. Here's the reality: is that the reason why people say my community is toxic compared to a lot of the other communities in Warcraft is because my community is astronomically larger than all of
That
the other
too.
communities in Warcraft.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I have 5% of my audience that's
Yeah.
toxic, that's larger than pretty much everybody else's entire fucking audience, and that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's going to look that way because you're looking and you're dealing with the law of large numbers. But the fact is that no, a lot of my audience is not toxic at all. And a lot of the people that are toxic are just
They're
there to
banned.
start trouble. They're not mine anyway. Yeah, that's all there is to it.
Mine. I didn't sign off
Well,
on them.
people just don't realize that because they're fucking stupid. That's the only reason. And that makes sense. Yeah, you're just dealing with the law of large numbers. It's that simple. And of course, everyone is talking about Asmongold and not the actual interview. And so if Ian's ever been a top company swamped in lawsuits, Asmongold's the reason the spit emote was removed. I'm glad they put this on Twitch instead of YouTube. Every single time I click on an Asmongold YouTube video, my entire feed gets flooded with his videos. It's just a YouTuber grift for saying dumb stuff in a moment you have to hold yourself to. It's like saying Nostalgia Critic is a character. Because the interview is still happening. People talk about content. Just calm down. Like him or not, Asmongold is a big advocate. I'm generally kind of give benefit of the doubt but gosh, is it bad look to give time at all to a guy like Asmongold? The whole thread is like this. I'm not going to read all of them because it's fucking boring at this point.
Let's move on from Champ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's very exactly sure what that is anyway. I think it's just like basically things of scale, right? I mean, it's very simple, right? If you have an audience of 1 million people, it's like how many followers do I have on my channel? It's like 3 million or something like that. All of the other WoW streamers, like nobody watches them because they just stream Mythic Plus. It's fucking boring. Nobody wants to watch that. And so the fact is that like a lot of those people are not even really WoW players to begin with, right? These are just random people as well. No, it is true. Like, I'm sorry, but like you've got to do different stuff if you want people to tune in and watch the show. That's it. And so in general, this is something that I think people need to realize is that, you know, whenever you have a larger audience, you're going to have some of those bad people. You're going to have bad apples and bad actors. And also there are people that just because a stream is large, they go into it and start trouble because that's a place where they can have a large audience for their behavior. They want people to see how obnoxious and annoying they are. It's what they enjoy. So that's how I see it. That's one thing I've noticed a lot, and that's just what happens all the time. And being an asshole, everything you say is true. Well, listen, here's the thing that I've said many times. There's a lot of people calling me an asshole.
That's
There's
fine.
not that many saying that I'm wrong. I am not wrong. And the fact is that what I'm saying is true.
That was the one guy.
Even if you don't
Just the
like
one
it.
guy.
And that's what I always do, and it makes my chat mad sometimes, it makes other people mad sometimes, and I can guarantee you that eventually it will probably make you mad too. And that's it. Will you ban the people who do? Exactly. Why would I even waste my time? I'm not going to indulge every single counter argument or every single time people disagree with me. You know, that's about it, man. Well, they say you're wrong. They can't back it up for shit. Yes, Asmongold is wrong because he's an asshole. And why is he an asshole? Well, it's because he's wrong. All right. Well, that sounds great. Well, we're already off to a very positive,
Yep,
a really positive outcome, right? You have a
very
huge
fast.
ego, and that's what puts people against you. Well, I don't really have a huge
I don't
ego.
even
I
think
think that people
he has a massive
always.
ego.
So here's my opinion on like ego and how people perceive ego online.
Ego
I
is a
think that
fake
people perceive
yourself.
confidence as ego. So
Yeah.
if somebody is confident in what they believe or confident in what they think, they are perceived to have an ego. These people are considered to be, oh, well, this is a big ego Andy because now he's, you know, he thinks he's better than other people. He doesn't want to listen to other people's perspectives. And no, that's not really true. It's just that I think their perspectives are dumb. That's really all there is to it. How dare you be confident in something you know? Yeah, so that's what the difference is
How
that I
dare you be
think a lot
confident in
of
something?
times
Yeah, that's a good point.
people with
How dare
like
you be
very
confident
low
in something you know?
confidence and you know, basically zero ego at all. And I don't think having an ego at all is a bad thing. I think that it's only a bad thing whenever it allows you to forgive misgivings, right? And to forgive, you know, mistakes that you make, etc. And so it's even a problem. Yeah, exactly. And I think really it's just people that don't like having somebody out there spreading opinions that they disagree with and not indulging their counter argument because they think that they deserve that time. And so that's all it comes down to. And that's why I think that people get upset about it. And I think that
I
it's a
mean,
problem online in general.
yeah,
But at the end of the
overall.
day, people are going to do what they're going to do. There's nothing you can really do to stop.
Don't forget that some people just want to jump on the bandwagon of hate. It's like they don't treat Asmongold like a real person. It's more like he's just a persona that they can shit on, to take out their frustrations, just to make someone else feel bad, so they don't have to feel bad. I would say some of these people probably don't care anything about like Asmongold being an evil person or a good person, or whatever. They just want to jump on the bandwagon of hate just because it makes them feel better, and that's it. That has nothing to do with Asmongold at all.
Them or really try to counteract
Redirecting their frustrations on somebody else because it's actually like it makes them feel better.
this, etc. And that's all there is to it. You're vocal about your opinion.
And if he actually cared about it, it would make them feel even better. It's like, yes, I ruined this guy's day. Hell yeah, I get to eat a cookie today.
That always set people off no matter what it is. Exactly. Yes, people don't want to have their opinions questioned or anything like that. All right, let's see this here. On Preacher's point in Allcraft about WoW storytelling should not be copying Final Fantasy. I agree with this, and I don't think this should happen either. That's what it is. I wholeheartedly agree with them. Final Fantasy is the way it is because it has Final Fantasy in the title, and thus it has to live up to the expectations set by the franchise over 3 decades. Long form, linear, cinematic, dialogue heavy narrative. Final Fantasy isn't doing anything innovative here, it's just continuing a tradition. If World of Warcraft is going to improve on its story, it should look to its heritage, Warcraft 3. So, what kind of storytelling elements does Warcraft 3 have? Mission based, campaign based, faction based, brevity and dialogue, action heavy, simple on the surface, but lore deep story. Warcraft 3 was a seminal game for its time, and more elements of the storytelling modern WoW can borrow, the better. I think a big reason for that is because there were way more like kind of large events that happened in Warcraft 3 in general. I think that's a big factor. And also I think kind of like what Preach said is like, oh, the game is like, you know, the world is on fire, but somehow everything is okay if you go to Stormwind. Like you have to have like that duality if you're using a persistent world that everybody exists in simultaneously that aren't on the same parts of the story. So it makes sense why WoW is going to have that problem. I think it's a big issue. However, I think this person is right. They should try to tell stories that are more like Warcraft 3 and more like original like Warcraft 2.
I don't think anyone expects a Final Fantasy type story from Craft. Much as I want a better story, I don't mean it in the sense of like make a Final Fantasy story. I'm like that's not WoW's strong point. A good story, in my opinion. Legion was a good story overall. I didn't like how it ended, but overall was a good story. You get a decent background of like why you're in Argus. You get a decent background like who you're fighting in Argus, and that's it. You don't need to go into like understanding why this Titan cannot be reasoned with. I don't care about that, right? Just give me a little bit of backstory of what I'm fighting for. Make the purpose of it decent enough for me to care, and that's it. And give me a good because like World of Warcraft is actually just like a good combat system. Just gonna give me a good fucking fight.
Even and World of Warcraft, like at the
And
beginning,
loot.
tell simple stories. You know who is a great character? Who is a good example of this is Illidan.
Yep.
Illidan was a
Simplest of stories.
simple badass who had one-liners, and it was great. You don't need to write Game of Thrones. You don't need to write, Heaven's Ward. You don't need to write, fucking, like, let me think of another example. Like, you don't need to do this, right? You don't need to write any of this. It's like Lord of the Rings is a great example of this, right? Lord of the Rings is an incredibly simple story. It really is. There's this really bad guy, and he's so bad, and he wants everybody in the world to be his slave. And he has this ring, but we cut the ring off, and so he died. But he's not really dead, so we have to kill him again by destroying the ring. But we can't destroy the ring, so we have to put it in a volcano. That's about it. That's really about it. There's no complications to this. There's no, grand design. Like, yes, Sauron, if you look into the lore, there's a little bit more to it. And, it's kind of like a malevolent benevolence, right, of a certain degree. It's like, I'm doing this for your own good. However, this is not accessible in the base story, right? You don't really know this. And, the whole story, there's no real gray areas. There are very few characters that have, like mixed intentions, etc. It's very straightforward, and the story's great. So you don't need to have something that's incredibly complex and that has like all these different angles and, perspectives to it. I think that just tell a good story, and that's it. The Jailer, well, the Jailer has a lot of complexities to him as well, and I think that's what people were expecting. Jay the Bard with the 5 good subs. Thank you very much, Jay the Bard. So a good example of WoW having that kind of a character is Gul'dan. Gul'dan is the best example of WoW having this. Gul'dan is just simply a piece of shit. Why is Gul'dan a piece of shit?
Because
his clan made fun of him a long time ago, and so he killed everybody or something, and then he got in league with the demons.
Just a piece of shit.
Because they want to make him more powerful or something like that, right? I'm like, what's really the lore in this? Yeah, so Gul'dan is just a bad guy, right? Elements left him on red, exactly. So you like the Jailer? No, I don't like the Jailer. I don't think the Jailer is a good example of this. I think that people that are saying this is what happens, is that the Jailer is clearly a bad example of this. Gul'dan is a good example of this. That's why I'm talking about Gul'dan. And
Jailer is a bad example of any story.
And Gul'dan was a decent character in the story. Like, should Gul'dan be the only character in the story? No, of course not. Yes, but I think it's a big factor that a character like that has value. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? Yeah, he got bullied, killed his entire clan. Exactly, yeah, that's what it comes down to. Complexity is done is great. Look at the early scenes in the Game of Thrones or the books. Yeah, exactly. But, like, that's hard to do, and it takes a really long time. Stabbing you with the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. Yeah, keep it simple. That's really all I've got to say, is just keep it simple. People actually unironically like the Jailer. No, people misunderstood what I was saying, and because I said I like characters that are simple, people said like the Jailer to try to like counter me or some kind of gotcha. But obviously, the Jailer is a terrible example of that, and so they show themselves to not know what they're talking about. Because Gul'dan is, of course, a much better example. Gul'dan is this is a universally evil character.
Yep.
There is no good to Gul'dan. There is no, he's doing it for the betterment of Azeroth. No, Gul'dan only cares about his own personal power, and that's literally it. Let's see here. I'm going to read some of these. WoW has a shit story, and yes, that includes Wrath of the Lich King and Burning Crusade and Legion. All main characters were reduced to one-liners. I feel like side quests are more well-developed. Warcraft 3 was actually well done. As I said, I thought the Illidan story in Legion was great. I thought the Kil'jaeden ending of Velen and Kil'jaeden at the end of the story, I thought that one was great. I think that they do have good stories, but of course it's easier for them to tell them in a much smaller scope. And Gul'dan owns Reddit. Yeah, exactly. And again, it's not about, like, having one-liners is totally fucking fine. And like, a really good example of this is, like, think about 80s action movies, okay? Like, if you go back and you watch, like, the original
Cool guys,
Predator,
don't look
or, like,
at explosions.
The original Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's not a lot of complexity to this, okay? Or, like, Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
It's really not a lot of... It's like, what's going on here? Like, it's just, yeah, so there's this robot, and we have to kill him. Or like, oh, there's these bad aliens, and we have to kill them too. It's very fucking simple. And that is the kind of stuff that has value. I think.
If we're going into the movie comparison, I would say WoW is a 90s action movie. That's all it is. WoW has actually, well, no, it's a 90s action movie without the Michael Bay stuff, without all the explosions. Because WoW doesn't do a lot of explosions. It does mechanics. But in terms of story wise, that's what WoW is. WoW is just an action movie. WoW is just like, let's go. We know what we need to do. Let's go get shit fucked up, and that's it. Right? Then you take something like Final Fantasy, and that's like, that is a Fight Club meet Michael Bay meet Titanic. It's like, it's so many stories combined. It's a whole fucking journey. It's some fucking Narnia bullshit. Like, but it doesn't have that doesn't have that, how should I say it? Like, how can I describe it well? WoW is just go in, blow shit up. Final Fantasy is not even go in, blow shit up, is go in and see if the shit we're blowing up is worthy of being blown up, kind of thing. Or it's like or it's more like, this is the only reason we were blowing shit up is because we had no choice. Right? I'm not talking about the ultimate, but it's like how it feels to go into like a dungeon or whatever. It's like in WoW, it's like you go with the intent of killing everything. In Final Fantasy, you're going with the intent of, if something's in our way, if we have to kill it, we will, but if we don't, we won't. And like, it just feels different, right? It's like at the end of the day, you are killing a lot of shit, right? But it's like, it's the intention behind.
Think long term for some people. It doesn't necessarily have to be complex. People can look back on
It's
those
hard
stories and
to
appreciate them
describe.
and
I don't know
like
if I
them, even though they didn't have the
made
same
it.
complexities as
I don't know if I described it well enough, but it's like, that's kind of what I'm like getting.
maybe the Final Fantasy storyline or something like Game of Thrones. Do you see kind of what I'm saying here? Is that it's not you don't like these movies are all about one-liners. It's the same as like the
Yeah,
Expendables or
yeah,
like any Jason Statham movie. There's no real
yeah,
complexities here. It's just a good movie that's fun to watch,
yeah.
and that's it.
It's brainless fun. That's a good way to describe WoW. WoW is supposed to be brainless fun, and that's kind of all it was. You didn't have to think too hard about anything. And like Final Fantasy is like, it's not brainless fun. It's fun, but it's not brainless because there's a lot of stuff that go into it, right? Even the new Ultima, the new Ultimate, sorry, not Ultima, new Ultimate, and they have to save Harsha right? It's like the whole Ultimate is a story, right? Um, the whole, like, to get to the final raid is a whole story, right? It's not brainless fun. It's fun that came from understanding why you're doing what you're doing. WoW has a bit of understanding of knowing why you're doing what you're doing, but for the most part, it's like, this guy bad, I kill. Gabuga.
What about Berserk? It's great and it's full of gray areas. All right, let me just wrap this up because I think that we're just going to go back and forth about this. I think a story can be great if it's a binary, black and white story, good and evil. And I think a story can also be great if it has like multiple shades of gray, like Game of Thrones
Sure.
or like Berserk or something like that. Both of these stories are equally good, but I think that it's important to know that one of them is much harder to craft and create. And so, if you're not going to do that well, maybe try something else that's a little bit more simple.
Yeah.
And I think that having a more simple story does not necessarily mean that it's inferior. That's what I'm really trying to say. They shouldn't copy the style. Blizzard has a really big issue where they want to tell grand narrative experiences with complex characters, but their game is actually a really bad vehicle for it, so we end up with so much external media that people don't even consume. I think that's a big issue. I'd love to see more cinematics in the game, and I think that would be one of the biggest things that could make the game better in the long run. Is seeing more cinematics and seeing more things like that people can go and watch and just really enjoy on their own. I think that's a big factor. Yeah, cinematics. Let's see the rest of these. No use arguing over storytelling techniques when the team developing WoW is factually incompetent. Nothing good will ever arise from it. Here's the thing: is that Mike, I don't know. I feel like there is a very good chance. Here's the truth: most of the story has been told in a bad way. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It has. Pretty much every part of Shadowlands has been fucked up. So what faith do I have on Dragonflight? Pretty much zero. Pretty much zero.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see what happens. Absolutely, we'll see what happens.
No
But
copium,
I'm not going to
opium.
sit around and, write a blank check. I'll say that for sure. Let's see the rest of these. Breaches FC and Final Fantasy made a play and tame retelling experience. This is a 55-minute video. There's no way I'm watching a 55-minute video. That is pretty cool. I think that's probably about as long as, holy shit, the whole thing is, oh my god. Oh my god! What is this? That's nuts.
His guild.
35 minutes is still too long. Let's see here.
The Breaches Free Company. They have too much time on their hands. Not gonna lie. I get that they find fun, but like, bro, they made a fucking theater of Breaches Adventure in ARR, and I bet you they're working on Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, and Shadowbring, and Walker after. Bro, you have too much time on your hands. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If I had Breaches following, and my free company would, if I was in Preacher's place, my free company would do it, I probably would not attend. I'll ask like, how long is it? 1 hour? Fuck that shit. Thank you, but like, holy fuck. Just record it and send to me. I'll watch it in parts. Like, it's too much, man. It's too much.
Cute Asmongold. What the fuck? What is this, dude? Look at the teeth. Bro, this looks like Bloodborne concept art.
I think
this
that desk is nearly
What the
cluttered enough.
fuck is this? I don't think that the desk is nearly cluttered enough to be Asmon. It also has too many teeth to be Asmon. Meat Cannon Asmongold. Oh my, 6 fingers on the right hand, pretty cute. He evolved to have 6 fingers because it helps him reach more abilities on his keyboard. Asmon the Grafted. This is just a photo of Asmon. Can I buy this NFT? Photorealism. Snooky? Finally, someone gets the hair right. Okay, alright, let's move on.
Actually has 6 fingers. 5 on the left, 6 on the.
That's great. Yeah, it's not me. It's not a photo. Since Asmon has shown interest in the latest Ultimate, may Supercut rearranged it on phases. Sure, I'll watch this in a few minutes. I'm actually curious about this. Because I've seen a little bit of information about the new Ultimate, but I haven't really been able to watch it yet. And let's see here. When you catch Asmon after we started watching anime again. Oh my god. What is this?
That is.
Oh my god, what is this, bro? Like, look at that cat. Like, it's just like the fucking cat caught in 4K. Yeah, listen,
that is
guys,
pretty.
I've
Alright, this is all gonna be Reddit, right? This comparing hype for everyone. Okay, that's
fine. Come on.
my cool Asmongold.
Okay. What's this here? Where's the hype? 7 days after each cinematic, Shadowlands, Battle for Azeroth, Dragonflight had 2 million views. Fool Me Thrice. Everyone who follows Asmongold checks out the sub, generally the turbo nerds. Even players stop playing are generally still engaging with Warcraft and other mediums than the average player. In general, a lot of people are just no longer interested. Well, also, like, you do have, I think that there's 2 videos on the Warcraft channel. And so there's one video that has like half 2 million, and then like another video that has 2 million. But it is still certainly less than BFA. Now, I think the truth is that, like, after 2 expansions, Blizzard is just, listen, they're like, people are tired of getting fooled. People are tired of getting fucked around, goofed around, annoyed by the same shit every time. I think a lot of these guys, they're like, listen, fool me once, fool me twice.
Fool me once, shame on me.
I'm tired of getting fucking fooled. So a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. I think that I think Dragonflight is an expansion where Blizzard is going to have to earn back their audience. That's really what my opinion is. Like, they're going to have to earn back their audience, and it's going to take probably a year. It will probably take a year into the release of the expansion for people to warm back up to it and come back to it. It's the same as like what happened with Legion. So Legion, like the game came out and people were, like still pretty negative over Warlords of Draenor. And it took about a year or so for people to finally think to themselves, like, you know what, maybe I'll try the game out again and play it again. And I
Oh, I don't think I agree with. I don't know the numbers, but it's like I feel the Legion hype was very real, and 7.1 is actually when you had more people leave. Not a lot of people compared to what, but it's like you had a good chunk of people leaving because two reasons. One, you already farmed out your artifact, and realizing 7.1 that's like all you did was fucking waste time because you could wait for 7.1, get your artifact to 54 almost like instantly. Really bombed out a lot of people. And two, content, like because Mythic Plus was new, 7.0 was actually good. 7.1 didn't really add any dungeons. I think Nighthold had the least amount of players in it from all the raids in Legion. I'm pretty sure Nighthold had the least amount of players if compared to all the other raids in Legion.
I think the same thing could happen with Dragonflight. Like that's also a best case scenario, but that's what Blizzard should try to do is hope that the expansion has the same type of vibe because so many people quit the game after Warlords of Draenor that I think that Dragonflight is going to have the same situation, right? Is that there's already been two expansions that let people down and you've got to keep in mind contextually, like the expansion before Warlords of Draenor was Mists of Pandaria. And Mists of Pandaria at that point was like the most fucking like heavily argued expansion. People were like really mad that they added pandas into the game. They were
Was
fucking
you?
pissed off about that. They were like, "What is this? This isn't Warcraft. Like, what the fuck is going on here?" And they were very
I know you had pandas in Warcraft 3 technically.
frustrated about this. Like we can look back on Mists
Not
of
Warcraft
Pandaria and
2,
think
but
to ourselves, "Wow, this was a good expansion because it had these features." But the theme of the expansion, the implementation that like LFR was throughout the entire game, because this did not happen in Cataclysm, it was only in Dragon Soul. And so the entire vibe of the expansion was totally different. And Mists of Pandaria played a lot more similarly to how the game plays now, and some people were not happy about that. And I was kind of one of those people. I didn't like the panda theme at all. I thought the pandas. I've always thought Mr. Pandaria was fucking stupid. I never liked it. I think the farther we can get away from that, the better. No, I thought it was stupid. It just had nothing to do with the rest of the story. Like you have like a million other things that you could do in the game. You had like Kultiras, you had like the Dragon Isles, you had you could investigate Karazhan more. There's like the Twisting Nether, there's like Argus, the other planets, like something like this. Why the fuck are we talking about pandas? Like what is this dog shit? And so yeah, the Emerald Dream, like it's just there's so much more
I'd say you could have easily used Pandaland after BFA.
that they could have done, man. Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Hmm. Well, for the main part of the video, we'll need to get over their hate boner for Asmongold, in my opinion. Especially like you're like over 30, man. Stop. Just stop. No, like why? Like how shitty is your life that you care about Asmongold? Like, if you don't like him, that's cool. That's like it's fine not to like Asmongold, but it's like why go out of your way to show it? Like how sad are you? Especially if you're over 30. Even if you're mid 20s, I'd say like bro, like just get a life. As far as the hype for every expansion, I would say yeah, Dragonflight in my opinion. I mean, it happens every expansion. It's like, oh, this is Blizzard's last chance. This is Blizzard's last chance. But I would say there's just less people saying it's Blizzard's last chance. Some people just already gave up mid Shadowlands. Some people gave up in BFA, and some people stayed. Right, so it's like you just have less people to say the same thing that other people were saying during BFA and during League. Right? It's like, oh, this is gonna be the next best thing. Oh, this is gonna fix so many things. Oh, this is gonna be alt friendly. Oh, this is gonna bring me the stuff that I wanted in the previous expansion. They're finally listening. Oh, this is great. Torghast is amazing. Blah 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 blah. And then it comes out and it's fucking dog shit. And all the expectations go to shit. I would say there's just less people expecting it to be good at this point, and that's that. yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Those were my thoughts about Asmongold being hated by the player base, as like some things just don't change. I think there's just less people hating him now. But yeah. Anyways, peace out.